Call the meeting of the December 10th council to order. Deputy Chief Hawk, Martin, would you lead the invocation?
Yes, Your Honor. Heavenly Father, as we gather here tonight, we thank you for our health and our ability to be here. I ask you to examine our hearts and fill us with wisdom, so the result of our efforts will bring glory to you and you alone. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Chief Hawkins, will you lead the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight's meeting, we have a little bit different setup tonight. We have Councilmember Peterson attending by Zoom. So, Miranda, would you call the roll?
Taylor?
Present.
Peterson?
Present.
Lease?
Present.
Heckmaster?
Present.
Barlow?
Here.
Schramm?
Present.
I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes of our November 26th meeting.
Your Honor, I move that we approve the minutes of the November 26th council meeting.
I second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the November 26th council meeting minutes. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried.
Mr. Chair, point of order. We need to make an announcement to the council and yourself that we believe the impeachment process and results are invalid and illegal, and therefore believe that I remain as mayor. I'm present and I'm willing and able to resume my seat and my duties with the gavel. So here I am.
I believe we have a hearing on Friday that will determine whether that is correct or not. So at this time, I'm not willing to do that.
All right, I believe our own city attorney is in agreement with the fact that you didn't have enough votes to make it valid or legal, and not quite sure what gives you the right or belief that you can decide for yourself what is a valid vote, 6 or 7.
We'll move on to public comments. Anyone wishing to address the council shall state their name and address, organization or firm they're representing, limited to no more than 5 minutes. Time may be extended by the chair if deemed necessary.
My name's Georgia Ann Diener and I reside at 1321 Hazel Avenue. And Friday I had an incident that I'm not proud of my behavior with the animal control officer. But I have called this gentleman numerous times, which I talked about at the October 8th meeting, and I believe Mrs. Schramm, Mr. Taylor, Mrs. Lease, and Mr. Martin come out and looked at the situation that I called him about, and I don't think there's anyone that was in disagreement that this needs to be addressed. So Friday afternoon, I have a paper letter. Mrs. Heckmaster's looked at it, Mrs. Lease's looked at it. I have a letter from a physician, Dr. King's office at Stone's Corner. I have a pacemaker, I have a cardiologist. I'm not gonna stand here and give you my HIPAA of my mile-long history. I get up Thursday afternoon, Friday afternoon, it was the day after it was so cold. By my doctor's orders, if it was too cold, 32 below zero, 85 with 50% humidity, by my pulmonologist, if the air quality is not so good, I'm not allowed outside. There's no more boating on Table Rock Lake. There's no more going down the river for this girl. For my birthday, I get to go to Wonders of Wildlife with my grandkids because it's a controlled environment. The one thing in life that brings me joy and peace is my little dog. I do have a backyard. When I rented this little house from Ray Mathis, it did not have a fenced-in backyard. But because I had a letter from the doctor, Mr. Mathis let me have my dog. My son paid for my fenced-in backyard. And until I had these dogs across the fence, the backyard breeders, and I don't dislike my neighbor, These dogs don't have no shots. Friday, I went to the bathroom, I put this dog, I have a little cable tied out my front door. And I know you're gonna think it's crazy, but she'll start barking and I'll say, Maddie, you wanna go out back or you wanna go on the cable? And if she wants to go out back, that dog runs through the back door and she wants to go out back. If she wants to go on this cable in the front yard, she goes to the front door. That dog being on that cable is not in any way being neglected. It is treated better than most people's children. So I am asking that the city look at making an exception. I do not want you to do away with the ordinance, someone can tie up a dog. No. But I want you to make an exception that if I come to City Hall each year when I get my city license and I have documentation from a doctor that it risks my health to be out in the temperatures, walking my dog or taking it to the backyard, that I can tie a dog out for a limit at a time. And I'm looking at moving out to Myers Apartments. I'm on a waiting list. Those people are allowed to have a pet. There's so many of them out there. They need an exemption. They can tie a dog 2 hours. My dog just wants to lay in the yard in the sun. That's all she wants to do. And that's what I'm asking you here tonight. Now, I'm here for another reason tonight, and this is not for myself. I am speaking for Donna Platko that lives at 722 Bud Long. And she can't be here tonight because she's next door cleaning the bank. But I'm gonna hand this to Mrs. Lees. I'm gonna hand these to Chief Hopkins. And you can pass them on down after you look at them, because I couldn't afford to make copies for everyone. And this is for this side, and this is for the mayor. And Mrs. Platko has called this in to animal control, one of them 4 times and one of them 3 times. One of these dogs has been tied out for a year. There's not even no grass in the yard. Nothing's done. One of them's been out there 9 months, and I think the animal control told her, well, they've got a fence and they're gonna put it up. The fencing has been on the front porch for 9 months. She gets up every morning, walks her parents passed away, so I guess it's her dog now. Walks her dogs, and we have to watch this. I have to live across the fence from it, she has to watch it. We pay an animal control officer. 3 months ago, he went and asked my neighbors if their dog had a rabies vaccine, and it didn't. But when I asked him Friday if he'd followed up, no, he hadn't. I have called him on the phone, and he says, I'm not coming down there and writing anybody any tickets. Well, I don't want him to come write anybody any tickets. All I want him to do is come and document this. So, because Mrs. Cossey and Mr. Taylor both directed me to the Department of Agriculture about overbreeding a dog. And I have spoken with the Department of Agriculture, but their hands are tied and they can't stand up and help me because there's no documentation. It's my word against theirs, because nobody came out and took documentation. So here we are. I'm gonna be back in 6 months when that dog drops in. She does have straw, Jana. She got them puppies. She does have straw and she's outside. But that's the best we can do for her. Miss Schramm was so heartbroken, she wanted to take the dog home that night and get her a bed to have puppies in.
Me?
Yes. Were you not touched by the dog?
Yes, I was, yes.
And I told her we couldn't, but something has got to be done about the dogs living in our city limits that are living in worse conditions than they're living at the shelter. And I will let you go, and I have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's not what we're talking about. They must go on the vote.
My name is Bill Shear, 422 East 13th Street. Mr. Mayor, when you took that seat, did part of that uphold the laws of the state of Missouri?
Was that a question?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, then why isn't he sitting in that seat instead of you?
We have a hearing on Friday that
There
will
was a
possibly
hearing
solve that.
before Friday, and you did it illegal. Your own city attorney told you not to go there with 6 votes, and you did it anyway. Is that upholding the laws of the state of Missouri, Mr. Snow?
I had advice from 2 other attorneys, Mr. Shear.
Ignorance of the law is no excuse. I don't care what attorney told you you can do it. I was in law enforcement for 20 years. If I arrested somebody, they'd tell me, I didn't know I couldn't do that. Well, you can't do that. Your own counsel from the city told you not to do it. So he has every right tonight to come and demand his seat back. I don't care anything about Friday. What you did was illegal, and you know it was illegal. You ought to just step down and let the real mayor have his seat. Because we don't want a pretend mayor in our city. You was never elected by the people of this city. And you
Mr.
did
Chair,
not
please keep
represent-
your comments should not be personal. Please keep your
Well,
comments
you wasn't elected
to
by the city.
relevance.
So it takes 10 seats, and you gotta have 2/3. 6 is not 2/3 of 10. So that man sitting right there needs to be sitting up there. You should never have went through.
There's a process in the state to review the impeachment.
Yeah.
And that process is moving
The
forward.
state statute says it takes 7 votes on a 10-seat council. So if you don't know the law, you shouldn't be sitting there.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm Bill Putnam. I live at 624 Bel Air, and I'm here tonight representing the Steadley Trust. And I ask for leniency if my comments may run over the 5-minute limit by a couple of minutes. I think most everyone listening has heard of the Steadley Trust and is aware that from time to time they make grants serving Carthaginians. But apparently there is some misinformation out there. A Facebook page recently said that the mayor and city council do not run the city, but it is run by the Steadley Trust and the McCune Brooks Hospital Trust. Oh yes, and a local investment club of private citizens who meet monthly to eat, have fellowship, and discuss stock investments are in on the action as well. All ridiculous accusations. I assume the author is insinuating that by making or withholding grants to the city, those trusts can dictate what the city does. Now, I know the McCune Brooks Trust grants have to be approved by the city council, so that doesn't hold water. I'm baffled as to how the investment club does it, and I've been asked to be here tonight to give a little refresher on the Steadley Trust and how it works. The local board of advisors met with the trustee, the Bank of America, at noon today and asked me to get the council and citizens up to date. Why me? I guess because I have been an advisor to the trust for 30 years and compiled a book about 5 years ago on the Steadley family and their generosity to Carthage. Full details you can get in the book, The Steadley Legacy, at the Carthage Library for the princely sum of $8. Mr. Barlow picked up one at the recent Authors Day event, and all proceeds go to the library, by the way. As I said, many details are in the book, so I will give you a quick summary. Balthasar Studel came to the U.S. from Germany in 1854. His son Frederick, who had changed his name to Steadley, while a young man living in Carrollton, Missouri, was a jeweler when he came to Carthage in 1889. He and a brother purchased A.J. Kirk's jewelry store on the square next to where the Carthage Deli is now. His wife Mary and their 2 young sons, Kent and Ray, accompanied them. But Mary had health problems and died in 1898. In 1899, Frederick married Stella Veer Hennessy of Chicago, who was an excellent mother to the boys. They had no additional children. Fred was an entrepreneur, and records exist of several businesses he operated in Carthage. The most prominent of those being the quarry and marble business, which became known as Carthage Marble, and the spring bed business, known since 1935 as the Steadley Company. Fred passed away in 1928, and his name is memorialized on the Steadley Building, which is just south of the City Hall here. He left his estate 1/4 to each son and 1/2 to his wife Stella, who survived him by 25 years, living many years at the Drake Hotel, where she died in 1953. At that time, her residual estate was valued at $981,000 and was given to Kent, as his brother had died in 1949, for his use during his lifetime, with instructions that when he passed, it was to go to the Bank of Carthage in trust as a memorial to her husband, with the income to be used for charitable purposes for the benefit of, quote, the inhabitants of the city of Carthage, Missouri, making no distinction because of race, creed, or religion. I consider Stella to be the unknown guardian angel of Carthage. On May 26, 1959, Mary and Kent created the trust to fulfill the request in Stella's will. Kent and Mary had only one child, a girl born in 1915 who lived less than 1 day. They all had great gratitude for Carthage, for all that Carthage had provided them, and added a significant portion of their estate to the assets left by Stella. When Kent and Mary died within 2 months of each other in late 1959 and early 1960, the Kent D. and Mary L. Steadley Memorial Trust was funded with what is thought to have been about $2 to $3 million. The trust document states distribution shall be, quote, in aid of such scientific, literary, and charitable uses and purposes, and or including the encouragement of art and the prevention of cruelty to animals in and near the city of Carthage, Missouri, as in the judgment of the trustee, shall promote the well-being of mankind and the general welfare of the community, unquote. Traditionally, a board of local advisors makes recommendations on grants, with the final decision being made by a committee at Bank of America, the successor trustee to Bank of Carthage, who makes sure all the provisions of the trust are observed. Since 1972, total charitable grants committed exceed $41 million, with the largest recipients being Carthage Arnine Schools at $12.3 million, and the City of Carthage, including the library and the Carthage Economic Development Corporation, over $10.3 million. This represents a benefit to Carthage citizens of nearly $23 million, which otherwise would have needed to be levied as taxes on the citizens to fund these projects. Other recipients in excess of $1 million include the Fair Acres Family Y at $4.2 million, McCune Brooks Hospital and Mercy Foundation at $3.7 million, and the Carthage Humane Society at $1.5 million. Larger projects funded by the Steadley Trust in the city include expansion and renovation of the golf course, Fair Acres Sports Complex and parking lots, the renovation of the municipal pool in the 1980s, and the lights at Luton Baseball Stadium. I would also note that the trust prefers to fund projects and rarely provides funds for operations, and then only with a clear understanding by the recipient that it will not be repeated and they need to develop their own revenue stream for operations. Consider this. The Steadley Trust was funded in 1960 with around $3 million. It has granted or made commitments to municipalities and charities serving Carthage over $41,400,000 to date. The current value of assets in the trust exceeds $42 million now, and it will continue granting nearly $2 million each year forever. In closing, I can assure you that the trustee has never demanded certain actions by the city in order to receive a grant. The only request I can remember is that the city not announce ahead of time when they apply for a grant, so the trust will not be blamed if the grant is not made. Speculation regarding conspiracy theories disparaging the Steadley Trust show a clear ignorance of the tremendous good it does and will continue to do for Carthage citizens, thanks to Fred, Stella, Kent, and Mary Steadley. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Bill. We do appreciate the Steadley Trust. Seeing no more comments, we'll move to reports of standing committees. Budget Ways and Means, Chairperson Heckmaster.
Your Honor, the Budget Ways and Means Committee met in council chambers at 5:30 p.m. December 9th, 2024. The first order of business was to consider and discuss a supplemental budget adjustment for the General and Public Facilities Bond Fund for the fiscal year 2024 to 2025. The line item impacted were an adjustment to the General Revenue Fund for Parks and Recreation, Travel and Training for $2,000, the Parks and Recreation capital outlay for ash tree removal and replacement for $40,735, which will be reimbursed by a grant, and the Public Facilities Bond Fund for a change order to the I-49 interchange project to rebuild the exit ramp rather than moving the existing ramp over. This decision was made from a safety standpoint to expedite construction. The adjustment is in the amount of $95,000. You'll see this as resolution, all of this as resolution 2062 in tonight's council packet. We also considered and discussed a network host project included for multiple business locations. In fact, every city business location are items such as documentation and discovery, validating and labeling, color coding cables, moving firewalls to network rack, configure and install new switches, adding patch panels to protect existing wiring, testing, and cutover with the scheduled downtime. The bottom line is that investing $155,663.90 to keep our city information safe is the smart and prudent thing to do. The city portion of this, however, is $42,000. The remainder will be paid by a grant. Ms. Cox noted that when Michael Keith took over the responsibility of the city's information technology, we were not at the industry standard for cybersecurity. Thanks to Michael's diligent efforts and knowledge, we are meeting the standards. Thank you, Michael. Ms. Cox shared sales tax information, which will be provided to you later this evening in her comments. The next meeting of the Budget Ways and Means Committee will occur at 5:30 p.m. Monday, January 13th, here in council chambers. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee on Insurance, Audit, and Claims, Chairperson Schramm.
The Committee on Insurance, Audit, and Claims met tonight in council chambers at 5:30. We are recommending the approval of claims against the city of $3,623,406.58, and some call outs from that was the Omnigo software for $34,290.33, and there was a payout of to Redmacher Brothers Construction of $133,619.39, and Zanovan Engineering for $51,454.40. There were also two payments to Republic Services for waste. The October payment was $157,301.10, and November was $157,525.99. And those are just call outs because of the large amount, but I recommend that we approve this. And our next meeting will be into the new year. It would normally be on Christmas Eve, and no one wanted to meet on Christmas Eve, but I will come in on the 23rd and approve the claims so they can be paid. That's it.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Chairperson Heckmaster.
The Public Safety Committee is in between meetings. The next meeting will take place at 5:30 p.m. Monday, December 16th, here in council chambers. We continue to meet with representatives from the Carthage Humane Society. The most recent meeting occurred on December 3rd. Our hope and our belief is that the Humane Society will soon be able to accept more animals from the city. That's all, Your Honor.
Thank you. Public Services Committee Chairman Barlow.
We're between meetings, Mr. Mayor. The next meeting is on the 17th.
Thank you. And Public Works Committee Chairperson Taylor.
Public Works Committee met on December the 3rd at 5:30 here in council chambers. We had several things on the docket this time around. You will see two of them in Council Bill 2457 and 2458. We discussed a four-way stop sign at Main and South Side and Maple and South Side, and we were informed by Zeb that the state, there wasn't enough activity on that street to allow four-way stop signs, and that I wish Zeb was here because he has better knowledge than me. It would have been illegal for us to put stop signs at those intersections at this time. We have the police department has poached another person from the Public Works Department.
Nice work, sir.
Hey, listen, come on. Everybody understands that word, Chief. Okay. Wyatt Hettinger, who has done a fantastic job for the Public Works Department, and Zeb has tried every which way to induce him into staying, but he is going to be joining the police department. And he will be sadly missed. He has been barn burners from day one. We discussed the Missouri Regional Bridge Program grant. There is an opportunity that we will be forwarding to council at a later date. The rollers back in operation and leaf pickup operations are in full swing. And our next meeting will be the first Tuesday of 25 in January. So
Thank you.
that's all I have, sir.
I believe Mr. Carney told me that they have made one complete pass through the city on leaf pickup, and they're making their second pass now. And I believe they got the other vac fixed, so now they have
did.
2 units.
They did, and he said that the leaf pickup this year is excess of what they had last year. A bunch. So they're busier than all get out. So
Just for a reminder for everyone, if you rake your leaves out to the curb, the city will come by. They're making a systematic pass through the city, and they'll come by and pick them up. There's no need to call and have them, let them know that they're out there. When they come by, if you have a pile of leaves by the street, they pick them up.
that's all I have, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Reports from special committees and board liaisons. Ms. Heckmaster.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Planning, Zoning, and Historic Preservation Commission met in council chambers Thursday, December 5th at 5:30 p.m. A certificate of appropriateness for the placement of exterior signage at property located at 910 South Garrison was approved. The commission also approved a special use permit to sell liquor by the drink for the same property at 910 South Garrison. You will see this special use permit as Resolution 2063 in tonight's package. Josh Anderson submitted the annual certified local government reporting to the state last week and is also working on a certified local government grant. The next meeting of Planning, Zoning, and Historic Preservation Commission is scheduled for Thursday, January 2nd, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. in council chambers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Library board met this evening. Mr. Mayor, biggest takeaway is they're tremendously successful authors for the holidays event. They had 41 authors from all corners of the state, including locally, and Mrs. Barlow and I went and came out with less money than we went in, but it was absolutely wonderful. They're very much planning on doing that again next year. They've also got normally a monthly visit from Dessa, the therapy dog. If anyone has a child or grandchild who's beginning to learn to read, kids really enjoy reading to a therapy dog. They're taking a break in December, but that will start up again in January. Be sure and watch the library Facebook for keeping up with all of their wonderful activities. Thank you.
Thank you. So, mayor's report tonight, a reminder that we have a holiday, December 25th is Christmas this year. Same day every year. But unfortunately, our council meeting was falling on December 24th. So our council meeting on December 24th, as we normally do in December, we're going to cancel that second meeting in December. So I would entertain a motion to cancel our December 24th council meeting.
I'll make said motion, sir.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to cancel the December 24th council meeting. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Been meeting with quite a few people. We had a meeting, as Ms. Heckmester said, with the Humane Society last week. We also met with the chamber and some other folks on the sidewalk project that's going to happen downtown here, and found out that the sidewalk project is going to add to the grandiosity of our courthouse. So I was happy to hear that the sidewalk project will enhance that grandiosity. Had several other meetings, and that's all I have for tonight. We'll have reports or remarks of council members. Ms. Schramm.
Thank you. Be able to see it here. This week, I have been involved with the tourism director position. Tracy and I have been working closely to get a person in place for that, and I'll let her report on that later. And we're working together with entities in the town that we will have a board or a steering committee that invites all the entities such as, and I'm not going to name them all because I'll leave somebody off, but Vision Carthage, Carthage Chamber of Commerce, Boots Foundation, Carthage Economic Development, Historic Preservation, and several other entities that would like to join us for meetings. So we all play a role in the tourism and marketing of the city. And we feel it's important for everyone to have a voice. And I was in a meeting with the members of the Boots Board to discuss the role that they will play in Carthage. And they were happy with the outcome that they were listened to for the first time in a few years. They have a visitor center that we are going to help them support, so you will see that later come out with contracts. So we were happy that they're part of our city, and we wanted them to know that. I also worked with the Salary Study Committee that's McGrath Human Resource Group that conducted the study. It includes an external market analysis of current positions and an internal analysis to ensure equity within the organization. And our goal is to make Carthage a competitive employer, improved employee retention, and foster development of experience in various roles. And today I attended the Jasper County Commissioners meeting. And a few highlights from that was Sheriff Randy Kaiser reminded everyone about the upcoming Shop with a Deputy program, which takes place this Saturday at the Webb City Walmart. I wanted to find out a little bit more about that program so I could tell you tonight. So I called and talked with Patty Pennington, and she's the sheriff's administrative assistant. And she said that the program began in 2006, and this year it will serve 150 children. It's an increase this year due to need. Usually there are 100 to 120 kids but there's such a great need in this community in Jasper County. It takes around 40 to 50 deputies along with volunteers from local agencies to make it possible. So a huge thank you to the Sheriff's Office for creating such a heartwarming experience for these children. Also, Jasper County Health Department, Debbie Darby from the Health Department stated there was an increase in pertussis cases being seen. That's also known as whooping cough. So I wanted to tell you what to look for. And it's highly contagious and it spreads easily through coughing or sneezing. The symptoms are it starts like the common cold, then progresses to several coughing fits with a distinct whooping sound when inhaling air after a cough. It's most dangerous to babies. Young infants can experience serious complications from whooping cough due to their small airways, and she said, do not kiss babies unless they're your own. So stay out of their face. So that's the biggest thing. CDC recommends the whooping cough vaccine for everyone. The Jasper County Public Administrator's annual gift tree is up and ready to be supported. This morning there were about 30 stars left, so I urge you to go over and get your stars. And therefore people that are wards of the county that don't have anybody that would buy anything for them. The wish lists are small and anything is encouraged, even a monetary donation. And the tree is in the main lobby of the courthouse, and gifts can be brought in, I believe, up until that last week of Christmas. It's stated on the tag, and they're dropped off at the public administrator's office over by the sheriff's department, the annex, the top floor. And that's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Barlow? Ms. Heckmaster?
The Christmas parade was fantastic. Recently, when I was out and about on the sidewalk walking my dog, a resident approached me and said, we're all living in a Hallmark movie. And isn't that the truth? As beautiful as our city is this holiday season. I also wanted to commend Megan Mullican, a CWNEP employee who was named one of the Joplin Globe honorees for 20 under 40. So congrats to her. That's all, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Lees?
I just want to tell everyone to have a Merry Christmas, and thank you again, all city workers, for everything you do every day to keep our city running. You know, it's been interesting to learn a lot behind the scenes and things that are being done. Proud of how much is going on with, it was fun, enjoyable to be a part of the salary study, and we're still working on that. And we do want to make our city a good place to be and a good place to work. That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Mr. Peterson?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Nothing too much tonight. I really just wanted to say, first off, I apologize for the inconvenience to my colleagues and everyone that I'm here remotely. But in the same breath, I'd like to thank Mr. Keith and Mrs. Deal for their work in facilitating this and making it so easy. So I know they already bust their tail, and I just added more to their plate. So I have to thank them, and really appreciate that. That's all.
Mr. Taylor?
I want to thank again the CWIP employees for the lights. Got to take my granddaughters up there, and they really enjoyed it, and it's greatly appreciated for me, that's for sure. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you. Administrative reports from officers of the city. Chief Hawkins.
Yes, just a couple of things. Ms. Diener, while all the other activity was going on here, I sent a message back to my department to do some research on the items that you pointed out here. And either I don't know what the breakdown is right now, potentially the addresses may not be exactly right, but we're finding absolutely no calls for service on these two addresses that you pointed out. I'll give you my word, I'll look into this some more tomorrow.
You can go by that 722 Bud Long, and I can give you Donna's phone number. She's over at the bank tonight.
Yeah, and that's fine. I'll give you my word.
But she gave me those pictures and those addresses,
Okay.
so I can't verify.
Right, And I'm just saying that we will look further into this, but my initial,
And I know you will.
investigation has turned up no cause for
And I was
service as of yet.
when I saw your animal control truck outside my house, I copped an attitude before I ever opened that door.
Those things happen, it's quite all right.
No, it's not.
Well, thank you for saying so then.
I gotta be an adult to learn how to control my behavior.
I understand, and thank you. I think it was potentially Ms. Heckmaster that commented on the Humane Society and, an update that I received earlier today that the, current director out there has resigned, or at least is no longer there. I don't know the status behind why she's not there. I just know that she's no longer with the shelter. And I will comment on your reference to Wyatt. We look very much forward to having him as a member of the Carthage Police Department. And then, just one more thing is that the children's Christmas party that we sponsor is going well so far. We do a fundraiser every year. Duke Mason and his band have a benefit concert that all proceeds from that concert go towards the Laverne Williams Children's Christmas Party. We also take donations throughout the year as well. And we are scheduled for that part. The Duke's concert was just this past Sunday. The Christmas party itself will be the 21st of this month. We take donations for that as well. Just wanted to reiterate that because there's a lot of need this time of year from everywhere.
And Chief, how many kids are you expecting this year? 300, 400?
Probably in that neighborhood between 300 and 400. For those that don't know, we've hosted our party different over the last several years. As of last year, we started trying to find a way that we could pretty much include every child that goes through the R9 school system. So what we did was we invited every third grader that goes to Carthage R9 to come to this party. Now, obviously not all of them are going to show up, but they're invited. And we'll just continue that route, inviting every third grader every year. And sooner or later, we're going to catch every person, every child that goes through Carthage R9 will at least have the opportunity to come if they want to. And that's something brand new. One of my officers came up with that idea, and so far, it's only been for a year, but so far it's working good.
That is a great program that the police department does, and I know you have done it for quite a few years, and any donations to that would definitely be appreciated by the department.
Yeah, that's all for tonight.
Thank you, Chief. Interim Chief Martin?
Yes, I know we said we would do a push-in with the new truck, but due to the new radios being installed, we've had to move that up, and it's too cold to wash a truck and push in right now. So as of tonight, that truck will be in service. We got the shelving in today, and they mounted it. They're swapping over whatever we need. That truck will be in service before we get out of meeting. So the guys are excited about it, and they come into work at 6:30 and they were still like bees flying around that thing when I stopped by on the way here. Fire Marshal Maples and myself have been at the Emergency Management Conference in Branson the last 2 days, and there's one more day tomorrow. We're getting a lot of good ideas that we'll probably be bringing to public safety soon. But that is all for tonight, and I would ask your permission to be excused from the remainder so that I can.
Sure,
back
go
to
ahead.
Branson.
We can consider the push in a soft, like businesses do a soft opening. It'll be a soft push in for the truck to go in. We will do that when the weather warms up. But go ahead and go back to Branson. Thank you, Mr. Martin. Ms. Almendinger?
Thank you. I just have a few things to report tonight. We did have the Griggs Park Playground ribbon cutting in conjunction with the Chamber of Commerce last week, and had a wonderful attendance there. We have all of the playgrounds open now. We still have things to work on and lighting to put in place for those, but I just want to give another round of appreciation to the McCune Brooks Hospital Trust, whose generosity has enabled us to have all of the new bathrooms and all of the new playgrounds in all of the parks. And so we'll be working on the lighting next. And then last night, we partnered with Vision Carthage for the candy cane hunt. And it was wildly successful, so that was a lot of fun. Had a lot of kids running around looking for candy canes. And then there were prizes if you found a certain one. And there was free cocoa. So it was just a wonderful event. Pictures with Santa. They did a fabulous job. And we helped get it all set up and just accommodate their needs there. And that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Cox?
Thank you. I'd like to report on our sales tax and use tax. The use tax has definitely continued to climb. Unfortunately, this month it is down a little bit at $140,787. But when we set out on the journey to try and convince the voters to vote for the use tax, we formed a committee, and the committee decided that it would be best if we could show that we were not just going to put the use tax right into the general fund to be spent out on salaries. And the committee decided that for 3 years we would designate the use tax funds to each department for certain projects. And it was divided up, and the park department got 40%, public works received 30%, and the fire department and police department each received 15%. It's hard to believe that it's actually been 3 years since the use tax was implemented. During the 3 years, the funds that were collected through the use tax total over $3 million. And so now they have to, each department has to decide what projects they're going to spend their funds on. The sales tax revenue was up this month, 3.3%, and year-to-date, $244,000. Marijuana tax came in at $12,471, and the marijuana tax has now been in effect for a year. So we've received approximately $160,000 on the marijuana tax. I've seen some comments about the farm lease that we have out right now. That lease is for the land with the Economic Development Park. There was an individual that was leasing that from the butchers previously, and just to make everything fair, we did put that out. And those bids are due in by the end of the year. Is that correct? December 23rd. So anyone who is interested in that, please take a look at it. Also, as Jana mentioned earlier, she and I have been working together on filling the tourism position. We do have an individual that is going to be joining the team, and she will not start though until after the first of the year, so we can't release the name because her current employer is not aware. so we'll hold off on that announcement for a little bit. We had the pleasure of having a float in the Christmas parade, and I want to say Danae has definitely, she works hard in a lot. She's very crafty, and she put together the float with the help of the other office staff, and it was pretty neat if anyone got to see the float that we had in the parade. Also, to the council members, if you have not responded to Miranda for the dinner for next Thursday, please send her an RSVP as soon as possible. Another item that the chamber is forming an ambassador board that they will have to help educate new members and help host some of the coffee events and things like that. And I'm proud to say that I will be serving as one of the chamber ambassadors, and Julie does wonderful things for our community, and I'm very fortunate to work alongside her in doing that. So that's all I have tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Gold? Nothing tonight, no. We'll move on to report of claims.
The Committee on Claims filed a report in the amount of $3,623,406.58.
I move that we approve the claims as presented, Your Honor.
A second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the claims. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried. We'll now move on to the public hearing.
The City of Carthage will hold a public hearing at 6:30 p.m. on December 10th, 2024 at City Hall regarding a grant of tax abatement for construction of a new production facility and cold storage building for the storage and handling of raw materials and ingredients used in the production process for finished goods at 2499 Hazel Avenue in the city, known as The Project. The project is wholly within the Jasper County and Carthage Enhanced Enterprise Zone. The city is considering granting real property tax abatement for the project pursuant to sections 135.950 to 135.973 of the revised statutes of Missouri as amended.
Mr. Meredith, would you like to speak?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the council, members of the public, those watching on TV this evening. It's my privilege and pleasure to talk to you about this project, and while I've stood at this lectern and shared before about different projects, none quite have the same level of grandiosity as this one. So this is a competitive project that we've been talking with, and we started this discussion last year. The company was looking at a location in Logan, Utah, as well as Green Bay, Wisconsin, and another city here in Missouri. So whenever we start a discussion with this for the Enhanced Enterprise Zone, we had questions about the types of jobs that were created because this is a food service facility, not necessarily what we have otherwise, which are more common with the machines and the machine shops and things. So jobs that will be created will include operators, sanitation, processor, material handling, lab management, and ultimately this company has a lot of high-paying jobs with great benefits. So the project itself, this will lead to growth of employment here in Carthage, Missouri, which is ultimately one of the factors for which I strive to achieve. The average salary of these will be $54,538. The county average is $46,827 just for comparison, which equals us out to approximately 116% of the average wages. The company is an ESOP, which if you're not familiar is basically where the employees themselves effectively own the company through a stock ownership plan. And this company does currently have 1,200 employees here in town. Now, this slide's here not just because it's a cute dog and it's Christmas time, right? But I've had people ask before, where do the names for projects come from? So actually this Wisconsin living dog is named Montague. So whenever we tasked the gentleman we met with initially to come up with a project name, they decided to come up with Project Montague based upon, the finance gentleman's dog. So ultimately, as many of you already are aware, this company is Schreiber Foods, as we released some of this information for the council meeting back in November. So it is Schreiber that is looking to add these particular jobs. A little bit of more details and the level of grandiosity that will be coming from this particular project for Carthage. So it is a potential multi-phase industrial expansion. There are still 2 potential sizes to be determined. Ultimately, and we've just called them the small project and the large project because we also weren't very creative when we came up with the naming schemes. The small project will be an investment of approximately $211 million and lead to 101 new jobs. The large project is $316 million, which will lead to 251 plus new jobs. Now the reason the 101 and the 251 are listed there is because within the Enhanced Enterprise Zone matrix, there are minimum job requirements. And it starts at 100 and 250, so we basically just picked that particular tier for which it qualified, and that leads to the level of abatement. So this is the EEZ matrix. This is something that was set up by the City Council several years ago, whenever this first originated. So if you look at this, so effectively, if you have the small project, it will be 100 jobs, and it will lead to an abatement. These are real estate taxes only. They will still be paying personal property taxes, sales and use taxes and things. Something else for consideration, while the EEZ by statute and by this chart here does allow for a total of 12 years of abatement. However, our legal counsel let us know that because the EEZ is going to expire in less than 12 years, the maximum years of abatement we could offer would be 10. So while you do have 12, and effectively in chatting with our team as we talk through this, as opposed to changing this schedule around too much, we effectively just dropped off the last 2 years. So if it's going to be the $211 million investment, we'll have effectively the 6 years at 100, 4 years at 75%, and the 2 years at 50 will not be abated. They will be paying taxes for that time frame. For the large project, we'll have 8 years at 100% abatement, and then 2 years instead of the 4 that is legally allowed for the 75% abatement. Again, it is real estate abatement only. They will still be paying business personal property taxes. It's approximately a 30 to 36 month build project. And in exchange for this abatement that's being offered, it could lead to $5.5 million to $13.6 million plus per year in annual payroll. And obviously there's a range there because it depends on how many jobs you have. And then there's always potential for future growth. I will tell you that whenever the distribution center was brought up several years ago, there were concerns that the small number of jobs that came from that and the level of abatement that was offered. But if not for that abatement, that has actually grown from the 14 jobs they originally talked to more than 50 at that facility, we would not be having this discussion today to be talking about this project. So kind of the process and the steps we're at here. So Gilmore and Bell, represented this evening, should we have questions, by Ms. Sarah, has completed the agreement. Everyone has agreed to the terms. Schreiber Foods has accepted those terms. And then we currently do have the two options available. And we've given them a soft deadline of January 31st, 2025 to decide whether it's going to be the small or the large project. You notice I've got some asterisks here because if they've not yet made that decision, I would come back to this body and see if we can extend this to give them more time to make that decision. They're not delaying their process to come to Carthage, but simply how big a project they're going to do. On November 5th, the Enhanced Enterprise Zone Board met and unanimously approved. Again, we've got an asterisk there because the various taxing entities are represented for that. And Eastern Commissioner, Mr. Tom Flanagan, was not able to attend the meeting, but he did cast a non-binding vote in approval of it prior to that meeting actually occurring. The school is also represented. The city council is represented as well. And ultimately, we did unanimously approve that. Now, our goal is to have the paperwork and the process finished by the end of the year. In fact, Ms. Sarah has the paperwork prepared for signatures by Ms. Deal and Mr. Snow. And the first jobs will be created in early 2025, even though the construction won't be completed at that point. So with that in mind, what questions do you have about this amazing opportunity that we have for Carthage available in our future?
Mr. Meredith, you might speak about the jobs. That there was a specific question asked about the 101. Would they be new jobs or would they be moving jobs from the other facilities in town? Yes. So you speak on that.
So the jobs, like slides. So the jobs, these will all be net new jobs. Now that's not to say that they might not train someone at Claxton or one of their other facilities in town who ultimately ends up being here. Because obviously if they're going to start hiring in 2025, if you go to try and process cheese right now at $24.99 Hazel, you're going to be standing in a field. So they're going to start those job creation now. And these would be net new jobs. There may be some shifting between facilities, but at the end of the day, if they've got 1,200 now, we're going to have more than 1,301 total Schreiber jobs in Carthage by the time that's done. Other questions? And because this is a public hearing, should anyone behind me have questions as well, we're happy to try and address those as well.
Can someone in the audience ask a question?
Absolutely, Ms. Brewer.
If these are new jobs, that means new families are moving into the community?
That is certainly the hope.
Then is there any effort being given to housing locally instead of living in some other community around us to meet that new need?
So at this point in time, we do not necessarily have housing construction that we are facilitating, but we do have a housing study going on. If Mr. Carney were here, he'd tell you that there is a lot of new housing construction being built. In fact, more so, but in Carthage as well. So certainly we are reaching out to the developers, and ultimately my process in that is once we have the housing study completed, which should be early January, I'm going to take that data and take it to builders, developers, and ultimately use that to try and sell my case on why they should be building in Carthage versus somewhere else. Because it's a supply-demand situation. We know that if there's this many, so if there's 100 jobs, we need at least 100 new homes to facilitate that, and that's going to be our goal to try and meet that because you've got the demand, now we have to have the supply to match it.
And I guess you're working with R9 also to accommodate those families?
Yes.
And new children coming in?
Yes. Dr. Boyer is well aware. He is hopeful that we would get new housing development as part of this as well, because then that helps grow the school district, and then the property taxes would come from the residential homes as well as just the students attending.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I don't know if you can answer this for me or not, but what's the basic, like I realize there's gonna be a lot of different jobs.
Sure.
But what is the basic standard of the person that would be applying? What would their basic requirements of, bureaucratic, like, GED, high school diploma, college level, what kind of requirements do you have to do those jobs?
Well, unless it's changed, Schreiber Foods used to always require GED or high school diploma to work there. And I'm looking to Mr. Pencal. Yes, so a GED or high school diploma is required in order to do that. They do have additional skills testing whenever they hire you, just to make sure that it's a good fit for.
Right,
Schreiber.
understandable. Because I've heard a lot of people talk about trying to get on there, and they struggle with trying to get on there. Because a lot of people want to work with Schreibers. But I find a lot of people that I work with in PD Incorporated, people that, need jobs and need them now, and don't necessarily have a place to live, so housing is needed, have a hard time getting into Schreiber. Do you think that would open up possibilities for some of those people?
I mean, it certainly opens up the potential. However, Schreiber Foods is a premium employer. They want to have a premium employee. The other side of this, and I'm not trying to speak for the Schreiber gentlemen that are here, but in addition to GED, they're always looking for a stable work history.
Gotcha.
So if you don't have a stable work history, and no stones being thrown against someone who doesn't, you might get a job and get that job stability they're looking for. Usually they want you to have had the same job for at least, I think it's 2 to 3 years at a previous employer, just to make sure that, because again, they make a significant investment, and you get benefits day one, including that dog that gets insurance as well as a supplemental plan. So they just want to make sure that they're doing that because, again, they're ultimately becoming an owner of Schreiber Foods.
Yeah. I asked because I like to make opportunities known to my people.
Absolutely.
And I try to find people that can fit for things.
Yes, and I'll tell you, outside of Schreiber Foods, there are plenty of job opportunities here in Carthage. To get that 2 to 3 years experience that makes you qualified for these. And ultimately, if you got a job tomorrow, let's say hypothetically at somewhere else, by the time the factory is actually up and operational and he's done doing his construction over there, you would have that 2 to 3 years that you're qualified then to apply for and receive those jobs at Schreiber Foods. Yes. Are there other questions from the audience or anyone here?
Mr. Meredith, you might also point out the other cities that were competing. Here in Carthage, we beat the cheese state, Green Bay, Wisconsin, for this new facility. So
And that's also the home office of Schreiber Foods.
It is, but we're not going to diss on Green Bay because of the fact that it is the home office of
Yes.
like Schreiber.
but we are becoming the Missouri cheese capital.
We absolutely are. Our joke has been that Carthage will be the cheese capital of the world, and I just have to get the paperwork finished out so I can get my lifetime supply of processed cheese.
And we'll get a sign on the interstate.
Absolutely, yes. Are there other questions? Well, again, the next process is you will have, because of the lack of meeting on December 24, we anticipate having 2 meetings this evening to get that accomplished on an emergency basis so we can get everything finalized, signed, and taken care of before the end of the year. So hearing no other questions, thank you very much for the time and the ability to present tonight. Yes, sorry.
Make sure that it is a public hearing, so anyone can also just go up, they don't necessarily ask a question, but like to speak.
Yes, and this is why we have the lawyer in the room. Yes, if anyone else would like to speak on this project, the microphone is available. I will scooch back to address should anyone want that, but you can't have the clicker.
Would anyone else like to speak on the public hearing? Seeing no one? You want to close?
You need to close the public hearing now, yes, sir.
Oh, so we will close the public hearing at this time. We'll now move on to old business.
The second reading of Council Bill 2454, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with JH Sign Designs LLC of Joplin, Missouri for the South Economic Development Park billboard sign in the amount of $20,548 in the city of Carthage, Missouri.
Any discussion? Cast your votes. Council bill passes.
The second reading of Council Bill 2456, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with MW Fence Company LLC of Joplin, Missouri for a one-year contract for various fencing projects for the Carthage Parks and Recreation Department in the city of Carthage, Missouri.
Any discussion? Cast your votes. Council bill passes. New business?
The first reading of Council Bill 2455, an emergency ordinance of the City Council of the City of Carthage, Missouri, authorizing tax abatement for a project located in the Carthage, Jasper County Enhanced Enterprise Zone to be undertaken by Schreiber Foods Incorporated.
Any discussion? I would entertain a motion to forward this to second reading due to
I
emergency.
make said motion, Your Honor.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to forward Council Bill 2455 to second reading. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried.
The second reading of Council Bill 2455, an emergency ordinance of the City Council of the City of Carthage, Missouri, authorizing tax abatement for a project located in the Carthage, Jasper County Enhanced Enterprise Zone to be undertaken by Schreiber Foods Incorporated.
Any discussion? Cast your votes. Council Bill 2455 passes.
The first reading of Council Bill 2457, an emergency ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Sprouse Construction Incorporated for the governor's transportation cost share at Airport Drive and Hazel Avenue roadway improvements project in the amount of $1,098,449.10 in the city of Carthage, Missouri.
Any discussion? I would entertain a motion to forward this to second reading.
I move that we forward the emergency ordinance authorizing contract with Sprouse Construction.
I second.
Got a motion and a second to forward Council Bill 2457 to second reading. Any discussion?
Sorry, everybody.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried.
The second reading of Council Bill 2457, an emergency ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Sprouse Construction Incorporated for the governor's transportation cost share, Airport Drive and Hazel Avenue roadway improvements project in the amount of $1,098,449.10 in the city of Carthage, Missouri.
Any discussion? Cast your votes. Council Bill 2457 passes.
The first reading of Council Bill 2458, an emergency ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Hessling Construction Incorporated of Dexter, Missouri for the downtown square sidewalks and streetscaping restoration project in the amount of $840,406.75 in the city of Carthage, Missouri.
Any discussion?
I'll just make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to second 2458, emergency ordinance to
I've got
second reading.
And I second.
Got a motion and a second to forward Council Bill 2458 to second reading. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The second reading of Council Bill 2458, an emergency ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Hessling Construction Incorporated of Dexter, Missouri for the downtown square sidewalks and streetscaping restoration project in the amount of $840,406.75 in the city of Carthage, Missouri.
Any discussion? Cast your votes. Council Bill 2458 passes. Move on to resolutions.
Resolution 2062, a resolution authorizing a supplemental budget adjustment to the General Revenue Fund for Parks and Recreation, Travel and Training, and for Parks and Recreation capital outlay for ash tree removal and replacement, and to the Public Facilities Bond Fund for a change order to move the exit ramp at the I-49 interchange for fiscal year 2024-2025.
Any discussion? Oh, I'm sorry, I need a motion to.
I move, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Cast your votes. Resolution 2062 passes.
Resolution 2063, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Carthage, Missouri, supporting an application by Preservation of Affordable Housing Incorporated for Missouri Housing Development Commission funding for low-income housing tax credits and tax-exempt mortgage financing for renovations to Highland Acres and Meadows Apartments.
I make a motion, we accept resolution 2063.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2063. Any discussion? Cast your votes. Resolution 2063 passes.
Resolution 2064, a resolution authorizing a special use permit for the sale of liquor by the drink pursuant to section 25-251, section 18, and to allow for the placement of an exterior sign at 910 South Garrison Avenue in the city of Carthage, Missouri.
I make a motion to adopt resolution 2064.
I second.
Got a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2064. Any discussion? Cast your votes. Resolution 2064 stands adopted. Closing comments, Mr. Taylor.
I have no closing comments tonight, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lees?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Ms. Heckmester?
Have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and the best New Year ever.
Mr. Barlow?
To mention the 84th Annual Community Christmas Services will be next week, but one of the many things that make Carthage a very special community. The first service is Monday night at 7. The next services are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 in the morning. It rotates at different churches. This year it's at Faith Life Worship Center, across the street from the Early Childhood Center, just west of the corner convenience store. This truly is, to me, the most wonderful time of the year, but just a reminder that there are those out there for whom this can be the most stressful time of the year. And it's a good thing to be on the lookout for that and be mindful and prayerful for those of us those in our community who are going through some challenging situations that a special holiday can exacerbate sometimes. So I just want to keep that in mind, and this is a very, I know this as a community member, as a school principal, this is a very prayerful and faithful community, and appreciate everyone's support of their fellow citizens on that. Thank you.
Yeah. Ms. Schramm?
I'd like to thank Jeff Meredith with the CDC and Stephanie Howard for coaxing and working through with Schreiber to come to our community. I'd like to thank Schreiber for choosing Carthage, Missouri for your growth. It means a lot to this town, and we welcome you. So thank you. Also, I wanted to say a couple things about the Carthage Historical Preservation Tour of Homes happened this past weekend. Thank you to the wonderful homeowners who graciously opened their homes for the 2024 Holiday Homes Tour. 475 tickets were sold for this event. We'd like to thank, I think that they would like to thank in the community, Len and Don Campbell, Betsy and Bryn Flanagan, Steve Lingenfelter, Crystal and Ron Stiles, Beth and Ed Strake, Elizabeth and Joel Wall-Smith. I volunteered Saturday afternoon at the Lingenfelder home, and he is a clock collector extraordinaire. People tried to go through and count the clocks, and they had to start over, and then they gave up. So we just didn't have a count of the beautiful clocks, some dating back to the 1800s of Germany. So that's wonderful. You could see his house on Olive Street because there's a big clock outside on a lamppost. So thank you so much for the Carthage Historic Preservation for having it this year, and in 2 years, they will do it again. Thank you for all the volunteers that helped with that to bring people into Carthage. Sparkle in the Park is beautiful, and it will run until January 1st, and it goes from 5 p.m. to 12 a.m. That is gorgeous, great picture place. Please get your families out there every night. I've seen it really packed full of people. It's gorgeous. What a gift to our community. I'd called Julie Reams to see if there's anything she would like me to say tonight, and it's been a very busy season for her promoting holiday shopping here. They created a promotional video with Mercy and the Carthage Police Department, and the video has over 7,000 views from all over the country. It's getting lots of attention. If you've seen it, it's the one where she's traveling around as Jovi the Elf with Buddy the Elf and the Grinch, and they're very cute. Small Business Saturday was a big day for many retailers, and now a very, very merry Carthage Christmas holiday shopping is being promoted for December, along with Charlie the Chamber Elf, and it's scattered throughout the business community. And selfishly, I would like to say that my son and his wife, Tabitha, had a baby girl yesterday. It's their second baby, and her name is Finley Jean Schramm, and she's gorgeous. So I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Thank you. And tonight, we would like to go into closed session according to the section. Oh, Derek, I'm sorry, Derek.
I'm sorry, Derek.
Look over my shoulder.
No
Sorry.
problem, no problem. I just wanted to thank Miranda and Michael and all the city staff again for accommodating me here. I'd also quickly mention that I'm really looking forward to and appreciative of Schreiber looking to remain in Carthage, and I think the benefits that project can bring can be fantastic. And with that, I would make a motion that according to section 610.021 subsection 2, the agenda includes a possibility of a vote to close part of the meeting to discuss leasing, purchase or sale of real estate by a public governmental body where public knowledge of the transaction might adversely affect the legal consideration therefore. And following that, according to section 610.021 subsection 1, the agenda includes the possibility of a vote to close part of the meeting to discuss legal actions, causes of action, or litigation involving a public governmental body or its representatives and attorneys. And I would move that we go into closed session on those bases now.
I'll make a motion for closed session number 1. We have to do these separately, so.
Oh, all right.
That's okay. I'll make a motion for number 1 to go in closed session.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second to go into closed session according to the purchase of real estate. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Nope.
No, hold on.
Miranda's got to cast your vote.
Hold on.
Now you may cast your vote. Motion passes.
I would like to make a motion for closed session number 2, the 610-0211.
And I'll second.
Got a motion and a second to go into closed session for legal matters. Any discussion? Cast your vote. Motion passes. We stand in closed session.
We are good to go. Thank you.
Taylor,
Present.
Peterson,
Present.
Lease,
Present.
Heckmaster,
Present.
Barlow,
Here.
Schramm.
Here.
Back in open session. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn in multiple seconds. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
Travel safe.
Thank you so much.
You all have a Merry Christmas if I